Welcome to Keys and Conversations with Kalita. I am Kalita Farver, a Metro Detroit realtor with Powell Real Estate. So if you're looking to buy and sell in the Metro Detroit area, I am available to assist you. Today, on this episode of Keys and Conversations, I want to talk about what is the perfect timing to purchase a home in this market. A lot of people want to know when is the perfect time to purchase your home, but it's really going to depend on you and your objectives because there are a lot of things to factor in once you make the decision to purchase your home. So, one of the things that you want to consider when considering to buy your home is the interest rate, what that really means if you're a buyer in the market. So, interest rates will determine how much home you can purchase because you have the debt to income ratio. The higher the interest, the less principal you'll be able to pay each month. Therefore, you're not going to be able to afford as much house with the higher interest versus the lower interest. For example, in 2021, when interest rates were 3%, you could buy more homes at a higher purchase price because the interest rate was 3%. On today's value, for whatever the interest rate is now, I'm not sure, it could be 5, 6%, or 7%. Your purchase price is going to be less because you have to consider in the interest rate as a factor. So that's going to determine how much home you can purchase. Now, keep in mind, if you buy a home and the interest rates do go down, you can always refinance. Refinancing is an option that you can use when you purchase your home. So don't let higher interest rates deter you from getting your home, because a lot of the times when you get the home, you can always refinance after so many years. It's going to depend on your contract with your bank, okay, or with your lender. So that's what's going to determine when you can refinance, but that's always an option. So I wouldn't say, hey, don't buy because of the interest rate. It's just going to impact how much home you can buy because of the interest rate. But there's never a perfect time, because even when the interest rates were at 3%, every home was going above asking. So you had to come with more cash on hand to actually win a home, versus if you just, in today's market, you don't have those scenarios as much anymore. So just keep that into consideration. So there's always going to be a plus or a minus in reference to interest rates and purchasing a home. So you want to keep that in mind. Also, this happens a lot. A lot of people are waiting for the market to drop. Okay. We had one market drop, was that a few years ago. And when the market dropped, it was unprecedented. Okay. It was an unprecedented drop, meaning it doesn't happen often, right? The real estate market doesn't have a lot of market drops, even though the price of homes did drop for a few years. They have increased drastically since that market drop. That means that even if you are to get a home at a lower amount, the market is trending up, and it has trended up most of the time. So buying a home, waiting for the market to drop again, who knows when it'll drop. We always, of course, want to look for a better value. But with a home, you have to remember that a home is a long-term investment. That's an investment that you pay into. Once your home is paid off, it's yours to keep for as long as you want to keep it, and you can pass it down. This is something that can be in your family for generations. So generation to generation to generation, you can have this equity in your family. So this is something that you want to consider more of a long-term investment as your primary residence. Okay. So we don't want to particularly wait for a market drop. Some people were waiting for the market to drop, and the prices have gone up percentages, 10, 20, 30%. Even, I would even say maybe even 50% in some areas. So you definitely don't want to delay just waiting on the market to drop. When is the right time for you, and when are you ready to buy? It's the best advice. Okay. And the next talking point that I have is the real cost of waiting. The real cost of waiting, people don't consider. They say, well, I'll just rent until your prices go down 10 or 20%. Mind you, they're renting from someone. And when you're renting from someone, you're not paying your mortgage, you're paying their mortgage, right? So there's going to be some value that you're not going to get back. If you're renting say you're renting at $1,000 a month, that's $12,000 a year. You can't sell anything and get that $12,000 back. That's $12,000 that you will not see in any type of returns, okay? So you won't get that money back. Now, if you pay $12,000 into your home and you sell it, it's possible you can get it back. We can't guarantee it, of course, because naturally you're paying interest, and depending on how your lender set up your amortization table, but your payment table. And based on how they set it up, it's going to determine how much you're going to be able to get back. But overall, you'll be able to get something back on the sale of your home. That's the difference. So that there is a difference in that, just waiting for that. Plus waiting, also the interest rates can go up as well as down, but they mostly go up because in any good economy, market rate interest rates are going to go higher. And that's when most of the time the economy is good, right? Because that's what is good for everyone. It's for the economy to be good. So if the economy is good, the interest rates may go up, and just waiting could make you pay higher interest, but it also can be beneficial because the interest rates could go down. But that's the cost. There is a cost associated with waiting, especially as far as renting, because you're still spending money each month. It's just not going towards your mortgage, it's going towards your landlord's mortgage. Okay. And the next talking point that I have is to focus on your personal readiness and not what the market is saying. So everybody has an opinion. Everybody has an opinion. That is our world today. As we become more social on social media, when is a good time to buy? Buy now, don't buy now, rent versus buying. Some people think renting is easier. Some people think buying is easier. I say it's going to depend on what you want and what your objectives are. Like I said before, buying a home is a long-term investment strategy, in my opinion. That's my opinion, no one else's opinion. It's a long-term investment strategy. So if you are thinking to retire in 15 to 20 years, it would be better for you to own your home and not have to pay someone a monthly amount. You could pay off your home before your retirement. That's a personal goal. It's not going to apply to everybody, but it is a personal goal. Now, if you retire and you're renting, you'll have to pay the rent plus whatever increases that your landlord gives you. Also, you want to keep in mind as well is that if you decide to move into a different apartment, you have to make 3 times the monthly income to qualify for a rental property, which is something that a lot of people don't take into consideration when you retire, because that income is going to drop. So that's going to exclude you from a lot of the areas that you may have been accustomed to while you're working a job. So it may delay your retirement. It could or could not, just depending. But it's just something that you want to take in mind when you're making the decision on your personal readiness. So I always recommend, if you're thinking about retiring anytime in the near future, you may want to purchase your primary residence. That way you can retire comfortably. You can even pay it off the property, and then you're just paying your taxes and insurance and then any repairs to the home. So that would be beneficial to some people. But like I said, it's just an opinion for me. Okay. And the next talking point is smart strategies for buyers in today's market. What I would say is that it's going to depend on the time of year. Basically, what I would recommend for any buyer is to talk strategy with your realtor. Realtors we study the market. We know the market. We research the market. So we're going to know what's a good value, what's not a good value, what's a good strategy, what's not a good strategy. Is it a buyer's market? Is it a seller's market? We're going to know that. Now, sometimes people say, oh, well, houses are sitting longer. It depends on the time of year. It depends on when you're watching this, because sometimes it could be just because the market is down. Just here, for example, in the Metro Detroit area, November to February, the market is slower. It tends to slow down. It picks right up in March, and it turns. It could turn into a super seller's market, or it could keep going with what's already happening. But a lot of the times, because of the winter months, the market will tend to slow down. So if you're looking for more of a value, or you're looking for less competition, there's less competition, of course, in the winter months, because there's less people looking to move. They like to move when it's not a possibility of snow. Let's say that here in this area. But each area, again, is different. And another thing I will say is some areas are recession proof. There's areas where the homes never went down. So keep that in mind. Popular and high value areas do exist that are not, they don't change because of the market. So I want you to keep that in mind. Whether it's buyers or sellers, it's always more expensive to buy in that neighborhood. So that's something that happens. And even if it slows down, people think, oh, it slows down, you can get 20% off. No, it may slow down. You might could get it 2, 3, 5% less than the asking price, but that doesn't mean that there's going to be some drastic discount in the purchase price of the home, because it has to be beneficial to all parties. That's what we want to keep in mind as well as a buyer strategy. Okay, the next talking point is it good to buy in Metro Detroit? The answer is simple, is absolutely. The values in Metro Detroit have gone up. They continue to go up, and it's just as lucrative to buy a home in Metro Detroit as it is in any surrounding suburb. And the prices are actually very close, as in my experience, just showing houses and looking at houses in Metro Detroit versus the suburban areas. It just really is going to depend on what type of property you're looking to get, such as a condo, a home, or a single family home, or a commercial property. What I will say is that certain areas are going to tend to certain things. So certain areas have big houses. They don't have small houses, right? Or they don't have new construction because it's an older community. So that's something that, again, a realtor would be very familiar with. And a lot of the times, and sometimes, I've had to go to some of my clients and say, hey, you are not going to find a home built in 2010 in this area, because this area was mostly developed in the 60s and the 70s. That's something that we know area by area. So if you're looking for newer construction, is it the location? You either have to get the location with the older home, or we're going to look somewhere else, because it'll be like looking for a unicorn to find a new construction home in certain locations. So that's something that we always want to keep in mind about buying. Is it a great time to buy in? Also, we want to talk about building wealth through home ownership. Of course, any paid off home is an asset, okay? But as long as there's a lien on it, I mean, I'm not an expert. I'm not a financial advisor. So I can say that having a mortgage or owing on a property will be a liability or asset. But I can say that once it's paid off, it's always an asset to own a home, because you can always borrow against it again if once you pay it off, just like anything else that you may own. But always having an asset, especially something that is known to appreciate more than depreciate, is a good thing. Okay. And the last thing I want to talk about is partnering with a lender, the right lenders and real estate team. Partnering with the right realtor is going to make a lot of the difference because you, like I said, you want someone who has strategy, who knows the market, and who has your best interest at heart. So all of those things, and a lot of realtors, we're all licensed. So we all should have those things anyway, but you definitely want to get the right realtor to help you find the perfect home, to keep you on task. And then you want someone to guide you through the process to make sure that you're getting everything that you are looking for. So definitely partnering with a lender or partnering with the right realtor for you is going to make a lot of the difference in your home search. And if you're happy when you write your check to pay your mortgage every month. So I hope you found some value in this episode of Keys and Conversation with Kalita. And until the next episode, I will see you later. Thank you.